Welcome to G.I.Joe Chronicles, Outpost Edition.
I trust your mission was equally well executed.
I want a stone cold righteous attention.
Militarily speaking, it's only fair to say that Cobra Commander is a world-class buffoon.
Hello, troops. I am Jim Miel, also known as Jim the Joe Junkie, and welcome to G.I.Joe Chronicles, Outpost Episode 18, where we chronologically discuss the toys, comics, cartoons, and many other aspects of G.I. Joe or Real American Hero, which is my favorite pop culture subject. Without getting too bogged down in the details, just my co-hosts and I having a conversation and reminiscing. Today, we will be discussing 5 episodes of the Sunbow cartoon, and with me today, returning to talk about some classic G.I. Joe animation, is a Quartermaster of the Outpost, my brother, George Miel. Thanks for stopping by the Outpost, George. How have you been? And have you been on any special missions lately?
Hey, Jim. It's good seeing you. Special missions, the only one that really comes to mind is a toy show we did or a Comic-Con we did a week ago. Other than that, just the usual day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, MuskyCon was our local, my local Comic-Con. It's fun getting all the local people together. Of course, always good selling with you. I had a good day, not only with visiting, but a good sales day. And
yeah, it was a very good show. It was a good kickoff to the season, that's for sure.
I listened to the podcast of the guy that puts it on, and they said they had over 2,000 people for a one-day con. I think that's pretty good. All right, my special mission, really the only thing I can think of, again, the show. And George, I think you've had me getting supplies just about every week for a while now at our local online auction venue. I got a bunch last week, so I've just been gathering supplies for shows coming up, George.
Yeah, that's been a really good source of product for us before yard sale season starts, so it's been good.
Got to scratch that itch, and that's about the only way to do it. But someone that is no stranger to the Outpost is joining George and I. Please welcome Jarrod Alberich, the yard sale artist.
That's a prescription for danger.
Now, Jarrod, you realize that this is a cartoon episode and not a toy episode, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us. Have you been on any special missions lately?
I have. I've been on a couple since last time I recorded with you here in the Outpost. I ordered all the ones that were still available of the Reaction Plus figures, Joe's. I missed out on the Fatal Fury, which made me sad because they were sold out. But I got just about everybody else. Although I think I saw that they might have done like a Tomax and Zaymot 2-pack that I missed, maybe. I got a good handful of those. I finally cracked and was like, all right, I'll try these. And I got to tell you, man, I was impressed with them. They are a lot of fun. They're a really fun figure line. And I'm glad that they're doing the O-ring figures over there. There's just something special about 3 3/4 O-ring figures. It feels right. And I'm really, really pleased with those.
Yeah, I've seen those on the peg. I've seen the Fatal Fluffy. And I think I saw the Raymar. I think we saw the Raymar in Indiana, George.
I got him. I think I got everybody but Fatal Fluffy. I think I got Cover Girl, Serpentor. I think that's how you pronounce that. Duke. I think there was a Duke.
Yep.
Yeah, there was like a little bundle they had, Super 7 on their site, and it was a good, decent price. And yeah I was happy with them.
I'm going to be real drawn to the characters that Hasbro hasn't done.
Exactly. Yeah, getting Duke was okay, and CoverGirl was okay, but like the big barbarians, what's his name?
Yeah.
Raymar. Yeah, that was very exciting. Serpentor was a little bit exciting just because he's the more modeled on the cartoon than the other one. So at least he has a bit of a different vibe. I mean, Duke does too, and so does CoverGirl, but I kind of liked his redesign a little better, but you're right. The unique ones are where it's at. And based off of today's cartoon episodes, I have some suggestions about some characters from these episodes that we could potentially, Super 7 needs to get on it.
Yeah, that's where their specialty is the cartoon stuff, that they really draw deep on some of that stuff. All right. Thanks for debriefing us on your special missions, George and Jarrod. Now let's dive right into our first segment, Action Figures in Motion.
Now back to G.I. Joe.
Last cartoon episode, we covered episodes of Season 1, Where the Reptiles Roam, Games Master, Lasers in the Night, and The Germ, where the Joes visited a dude ranch operated by Cobra, Some Joes and Cobras got captured by a man obsessed with toys, some cosmic graffiti, and Cobra creates an extremely large germ. We covered, again, as usual, a wide array of episodes. This show, we will continue to discuss more of the regular cartoon episodes of Season 1. Most of these episodes are single episode stories that begin and end in one episode, with a few two-part stories sprinkled in. Most of them have a fairly basic plot. Cobra attempts an evil scheme, and G.I. Joe stops them. We will begin by giving a synopsis of each episode and expressing...
Whoa, Cobra does an evil scheme and G.I. Joe stops.
Is that new to you?
Let me soak that in. You proceed. I'm sorry to interrupt.
First time for everything.
We will begin by giving a synopsis of each episode and expressing our thoughts on the highs, lows, and what does. But here at the Outpost, we call the what does Fatal Fluffies. We also want to thank Half the Battle for the episode information. George, how about getting us started with the first one we will be discussing today?
All right. The Viper is Coming, written by David Karen. Barbecue hosts a G.I. Joe party at his home, a remodeled firehouse. The party is interrupted by an odd phone call from the man calling himself the Viper, giving the numbers of 575. Surmising this to be a tip-off to a Cobra attack at those coordinates, the Joes investigate in Antarctica and discover a hidden Cobra R&R center. After a battle, they round up the Cobras at the center as prisoners and return. A second phone call, mentioning a West Corner, leads them to defend the graduation ceremonies at West Point. They are thus able to fend off the surprise attack and kidnapping attempt led by Major Blood. The Joes wait at Barbecue's home for the Viper's next phone call, which simply says, top floor first. The team gathers around Enterprise Tower, where inside leaders are accusing one another of being a mysterious traitor. The Joes win yet another battle and return to Barbecue's home, where the final call announces the Viper's arrival at noon the next day. When the time arrives, the Viper is revealed to be a window wiper with a European accent who has merely been advertising his services as the Viper.
Thank you, George. Jarrod, why don't we start with you on a high, low, or a fatal fluffy?
Oh, man. I kind of wish I'd watched it, but I'll make some guesses. I'm just kidding. I've seen all the, I think I've seen all the episodes from today because we helped cover them over on Aaron's Real American Headcast podcast. I have a list of things to discuss, and I know you guys do the couple rounds high-low thing, so I might have to do a Pat thing at the end.
I would say one at a time, Pat. then we cover it.
Hey, I've done it. I've done it as well.
Let me just pick my favorite one to go first then. Well, you know what? I'll start with the first note I made. This is an interesting one because when we talked about it on Aaron's show, there was, 4 or 5 of us on the episode and sort of mixed results. The whole Vindo Viper joke, my dad told me the Vindo Viper joke when I was like 5. So when I saw this one from the very first moment, I knew where this was going. It was going from Jump Street. I knew the whole Vindo Viper joke. So I'm wondering, to me, it's an old joke. I'm wondering if you guys had heard it before, or was this episode the first exposure for you? Jim, had you heard the Vindo Viper joke before, or was G.I. Joe your first exposure to it?
I think this is my first exposure to it.
What about you, George? Probably the same if you lived in the same house, right?
Yeah, I want to say I've heard the joke, but I'm pretty sure I had it on G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe. Okay, so it was kind of weird. I knew the joke, so I knew where this was going. And I've got plenty more notes, but I need to stop because it's someone else's turn.
And that next somebody is George. What you got, George?
Mine was more of a observation, I guess. At the very beginning of the episode when Barbecue said to, I don't know if it was Scarlet or Lady J, but the guys broke a window. He goes, well, I won't have to get that window washed. I thought, I'm like, a little bit of foreshadowing. That was interesting.
That's something that I only caught the second time. This is the second time I watched it. Because the second time I caught it this time too, George. Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, I think I caught it the first time, but I think in the last 2 days I've watched it at least 3 times, and I'm like, oh yeah, I keep forgetting about that.
My thing is similar to George at the beginning. Inviting the G.I. Joe team to your house, and that gets that crazy in the breaking stuff. Yeah, they were a little crazy, jumping off the balcony and breaking windows and basketball inside. And so
I've been to very few frat parties, but that's pretty much the gist of what you see at some of those things. So it's kind of the same thing.
Gotcha. Jarrod, here's your opportunity to do another one.
All right. I'll just don't forget to come back to me for hat stuff at the end of the round. I will go with, you know what? I mentioned it earlier, toys that I need from the cartoon line that were never made. I need a figure of the Cobra R&R manager guy with he's like sort of very like, hey, slick kind of late 70s, early 80s guy with his open collar and his quasi sunglasses and his rolled up sleeves to his sports jacket. The kind of like cheap version of Miami Vice. Like I was like, I need to figure that guy. He's awesome. That will be another high for me.
George, what do you got? Because I got something if you're not going to say it.
I don't know if I am right there with you, but I thought it was kind of funny, when they were going into West Point and they were doing a little sky view, and you could see everybody in that tank, they were all blue. I'm like, how did people not realize those were Cobra in those tanks? I didn't quite understand that.
Or when Major Blood's still in his uniform, right there out in the open.
Right.
Like, how did they not see that?
And that kind of also rolls into the, more of a what the, I know I'm taking more than one, but when this whole battle's going down, everybody's still in the stands watching.
That's a good show,
I guess they probably never, this has got to be scripted, it's part of the show.
I thought that just the coincidences of all three of them.
That's in my notes too. 3
how
for 3.
in the world G.I. Joe was able to decipher all these coordinates, 5, 7, 5, or what was the West Point one?
West corner.
And I'm like,
they must
really?
mean West Point. Like, yeah. Okay. Let's everybody calm down.
Yeah, some pretty hardcore, in-depth thinking on puzzle solving for those guys.
All right, Jarrod.
Yes.
And then, unless George has any more.
I do have one more, but right. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, man. I got like 8.
Mine is just at the R&R base. They were all working out, playing pool, whatever. And they're all still wearing their masks.
That is on my list. These dudes never take their masks off.
Never take their masks off. I'm like,
you're going to drown in the pool, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, waterboarding going on or what?
Yeah. That was my last one. So, Jarrod.
All right. I have, I think 5 we haven't touched on here. And I'll rapid fire. Roadblock clearly does not know the rules to basketball. I wrote down as a positive the action animations, especially when it was like vehicular stuff, the helicopters flying around, the battle at West Point and all that. Like the animations were quite good. Sometimes you can see the cheapness in them, but they don't really skimp on the action-y vehicular stuff. I made a note where Major Blood said, now I know how Custer felt. I'm like, Major Blood, have you ever not known how Custer felt? Because I've never seen you win a battle. Not one. And I think my last note is Scarlett going deep into her Southern accent was arousing. Oh, I mean, hilarious. Hilarious. I'm sorry.
You're not wrong either way. The last cartoon episode that George and I recorded, we had the Games Master, which is one of those that if somebody asks you, have you ever seen the G.I. Joe cartoon? They're going to know the Games Master. This is another episode where if you go, you ever seen G.I. Joe cartoon? This one's going to be on the list too of, yep, have you seen the Viper? Yeah, I've seen the Viper. And Jarrod, I always thought you were going to say that we needed a Super 7 figure of the Viper.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. How I missed that, I don't know. But I was just really taken with like slimy 80s R&R guy. I thought he was great.
I like to touch on the Roblox doesn't understand the rules of basketball, but him playing basketball is a spitting image of me playing basketball, which is why I never get asked to play basketball. And,
that adds up.
A little too much on the contact sports side of it.
Jarrod, do you remember when the Viper showed up in the Devil's Due comic of G.I. Joe?
Maybe. If I've already read it, if it was from the first run of Devil's Due, did he show up at like the bar?
Yes.
Yes. The memory on Jarrod. Yeah. Welcome to the Jarrod's Awesome Podcast. I'm your host, Jarrod.
And that goes back to where Devil's Due would
they play with that.
Dip into the cartoon, dip into the comic book, and just kind of meld them together. So
yeah, I feel like the Devil's Due in that run, they also like used a little bit of isn't there like a recurring news reporter from the cartoon that they used a little bit, I think?
Hector Ramirez.
That's him, Hector, yeah.
All right, Jarrod, I believe you are up for the second episode.
A team of G.I. Joe sharks search the Adriatic Sea to investigate Cobra activity. They attack an undersea base where Cobra has discovered a conch shell whose siren-like song places men in a trance. Destro is captured, but the Baroness flees with the shell. Mocked by Cobra Commander, she tests the shell herself during an operation at the Alaskan pipeline, causing the Joe and Cobra men to be frozen in place, but leaving the women unaffected. She then uses the shell to take over Cobra, capturing Cobra Commander and Tomox and imprisoning them in her mountain hideout. The Baroness's next stage is an attack on G.I. Joe headquarters using all hot, super hot female forces. She frees Destro and leads the male Joes that are captive to her will. Scarlet, Lady J, and CoverGirl, as well as a few Joes who are also away from the base during the original attack, locate the mountain hideout and form a brief alliance with Zaymon, everybody keeping up with this, who wishes to free his brother. They attack the hideout and use the device that counterattacks the effects of the siren song like a Trace Buster, and then the men return to normal, the prisoners are freed, and the Joes celebrate at headquarters. Scarlet and Lady J destroy the shell to make the world safe for men everywhere.
Thank you, Jarrod. George, you got any high lows or fatal fluffies?
Well, one thing that I noticed is when they first all got taken out by the shell or the conch or the siren or whatever you want to call it, how strong CoverGirl was for picking up Gung Ho.
Yeah, like with no effort.
Effortlessly, just picked them up. That was something I had noticed, though.
She is a heavy equipment mechanic, so there's possibility there.
When I wrote my note, I could have actually wrote what you were going to reply, and that was exactly what you were going to say.
It's like podcasting with Tomax and Zaymon up in here.
Like podcasting with brothers.
I wouldn't know anything about it.
All right. Jarrod, you got anything?
I have just a wonderful slew of notes, most of which are inappropriate, but they're going to be fun. Let's start with where it all started with the title card, and I couldn't help but notice, but comic book legend Jerry Conway wrote the episode. I mean, we are talking about, I think he's the co-creator of The Punisher. Maybe wrong about that. I almost positive he's the co-creator on Firestorm. These are all Jared's old brain guesses, so feel free to correct me, folks out there in listener land.
We discussed Jerry and Carla Conway last cartoon episode.
Oh, I was right. Yep, he was also Firestorm. Look at me go. Welcome to episode 2 of Jared's Awesome. I'm your host, Jarrod.
We did go over what he covered on episode 15 of Outpost, so you can take a listen to that. Jarrod, I'm glad you brought up the female aspect of it in the synopsis.
Well, you wrote it.
It came off of Half the Battle, so it wasn't me. But how and where you've never seen any female soldiers previously, all of a sudden there's a whole battalion and platoon and army of them. I don't understand where they came from.
And I'm
not complaining.
I know, me neither. I think they look great. I have a note in here that you will know the answer to. I'm almost certain that they finally did, because I swear I've seen it somewhere. They finally made female Cobra troops, but it wasn't until recent years. I don't think it was a while till they made female Cobra troops, but you'd know better than me.
They've done some classifieds. They call them Valkyries.
Okay.
They did a 2-pack.
You need 3 3/4 though.
Maybe in the modern era.
That's what I was thinking. Like maybe
I think the modern era.
In the modern era, they might have finally made one, but I thought it's interesting that they exist. I remember doing a show with Aaron where we saw one like randomly in the background, and we were all like, "What the what?" And that might have been before this. Yeah, it's just interesting that they exist in cartoon lore since the 80s, but they just never made a figure. Like I can remember in the early to mid 2000s where they finally started playing with like skin tones. So there was like black Cobra guys and like, different shades of skin, which that made sense. A lot of different people need a job, right? So you
exactly.
Can join Cobra. So to me, it did reflect more of an actual military organization, which I thought, oh, that's neat. And then to add females, next logical step.
And I do remember, I don't know when it came up, but it was a multi-pack of female soldiers that they did. I don't remember if it was a con exclusive or what it was, but I do remember them coming out with them in their modern era. All right. I believe we're to George.
Yeah. So my second one that I noticed was right at the beginning when they were all getting onto the sharks, and Flint says to Lady J, hey, just think if I took you on a real vacation, and it just brought out Deep Six's lovely sense of humor, and he's like, it's a joke, right? Like, yeah, guy. I'm glad you caught the joke.
Oh, Deep Six.
I'm going to break in when they were getting on the sharks. And Torpedo asked Lady J, have you ever rode Rumble on a shark? She goes, no. And he goes, well, just hang on. And all I could think of was, well, she can't fall off. She's got that backpack peg stuck in her back.
It's going to be fine.
Well,
sorry, that was low-hanging fruit.
Well, I thought it was kind of odd, though, that Flint's like, I'm not taking my beret off. You're riding in the water, lady. I'm gonna stay dry.
Cool opportunity, G.I. Joe Fighting Force.
All right, Jarrod, what do you got?
Yeah, I got a couple. The good news is I don't have as many in the following episodes, just a couple. I wrote down, I don't know that the Baroness necessarily needs a magical shell to woo men to do what she wants. Just a thought.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
And the next bold I wrote, that Baroness sure can blow a And finally, this one cracked me up. They used the Trace Buster to bust the trace of the guy who's trying to trace you. And they free the men, right? And they do a 180, and they are within 3 feet of Destro and Baroness. And they're like, open fire. They got dead to rights. And they hit everything but Destro and Baroness. They blow up vehicles. And Destro and Baroness, like, I think they got away. I'm like, how?
Well, they were using Cobra's weapons. They weren't using their own. So.
They get them from the Stormtrooper.
The Stormtrooper RS, yeah.
Right. But yeah, I was like, you were 3 feet away. G.I. Joe. You know what, though? It's not unique to the cartoon. It drives me nuts in action movies in general. When dudes absolutely get the drop on other dudes with the gun, beat on them. The other guy doesn't even know they're there, and then they miss. I'm just like, come on. Anyway, back to you, Jim.
All right. The other one that I have is similar to the Games Master, where they joined forces. Had a similar situation when Tomax,
one of those dudes,
Zaymot, teamed up with Zaymot to free him. I like when they do that. It doesn't happen as often as you think, but when it does, they use it wisely. They don't do it just as a gimmick.
Right. It was especially fun in that first run of Devil's Due when Flint and Baroness were in prison together. And Baroness definitely used that to poke at old Lady J.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then Destro just went along with it. Destro's like, whatever. You know what you're doing for some reason.
I think once you get full-time access to the Baroness, like your whole perspective on life changes. I might have revealed too much. Back to the show.
George, you got anything else?
No, that's all I've got on that one.
Jarrod, how about you?
I like the Baroness.
I think we all do.
Okay, is that just me? Okay, good.
All right. Well, let's move on to the third one. I believe that's for you, George.
Yeah, it's back to me. Cobra Quake, written by Ted Peterson. On the way to Tokyo Economic Summit, Flint and Gung Ho's plane full of delegates is attacked by Cobra Rattlers. Once forced down, the plane is revealed to be a decoy full of Joe vehicles. Sky Strikers arrive to drive off Cobra, while the real delegates land safely in Japan. Meanwhile, Quick Kick and Bazooka's work with trainees is interrupted by an earthquake caused by Cobra. Bazooka joins Lady J to meet with Scientologist Dr. Morita, but they are attacked by Storm Shadow and his ninjas. Quick Kick arrives, and he and Bazooka pursue Storm Shadow only to be attacked by Scrap Iron, while Lady J investigates Dr. Morita's house and is captured. Quick Kick, Bazooka, and trainee Takeo track Lady J's homing signal to Cobra's base, where they free her and Dr. Morita. Dr. Morita helps the Joes pinpoint bombs set to cause earthquakes across Japan. Joes are dispatched to the bomb's location, and Bazooka walks the three teams through the disarming process. The Joes celebrate their victory with a traditional Japanese dinner of octopus.
Thank you, George. I'm going to go ahead and open up discussion this time. And I like the ruse that the Joes used with the fake delegates. They land, and all of a sudden, a bunch of vehicles are rolling off attacking Cobra. I just thought that was a good way to trick the Cobras and then chase them down. Jarrod, what do you got?
Well, I have a few items on my list. Let me pick my favorite one. Anytime that they do a line in one of these cartoons that makes me as a grown man laugh out loud, it's going to get a plus and a thumbs up. This one had a great one. In the brief moment when they thought Bazooka had died, Quick Kick is always funny, but he's never been funnier than when he was like legitimately sad. He was like, he was a good man. No bomb expert, but a good man. I was like, oh my God, that's funny. That is very funny. So not only does the line make me laugh out loud, but I thought that was really good. Great delivery by the voice actor. But I love the way that they've consistently played with Quick Kick as this very funny guy. He loves his movie references. He's very goofy and lovable. If we're honest with ourselves, if it's 80s pop culture and you have an Asian dude, he's almost always very stoic and very wise and very, think of Pat Morita from Karate Kid and things like that. Enter the Ninja, Revenge of the Ninja. Any one of those movies that has Sho Kazuki in it, any canon film, like the Asian guy is always sort of very wise. And it was such a turn it on its ear thing in the 80s to see this Asian warrior dude who has an absolutely great sense of humor. So he's always appreciated when he shows up. It's just a really neat twist on a trope.
Yeah, I like that too. It's like Great man, just not good at bomb disposal.
Not a good bomb expert.
And then you hear, throw a rope. Bazooka's voice. Oh, I guess we should get him. I mean, did they even look over the cliff? To see if he was still there?
I mean, 9 times out of 10, people are probably assuming Bazooka's dead because he's always doing something stupid. Him and Tripwire, man. I got things to say about him later.
All right, George, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to roll off of the bazooka thing. As they were going through the rest of this, they came across a landmine and they came across this. He's like, I'll defuse it. He goes, over my dead body, you're going to. He's like, you couldn't do the training one. You're not touching the real stuff. We're just going to go around it and leave it be. I thought that was pretty good.
And then at the end, they got all 3 bombs. And he's going through, clip this collar. And then the last one left, he goes, well, I guess that's the last one. I guess we should clip that.
Well, was that Bazooka that did that, or was one of the other Joes? He's, well, I know which one's next.
Yeah, somebody.
Point out that you guys might have noticed this, and it's not in my notes, but when they're all going through the order of clipping things, Lady J's actually already clipped the blue one before he said anything. If you watch the scene again, you'll see she's already clipped the blue one.
She knew.
She knew.
They were just trying to make him feel good.
Yeah, you're part of the team, dude.
I really didn't have any more for this one other than kind of piggybacking on the bazooka one. Tycho or whatever her name is seemed to really care for Bazooka.
Yep.
As a friend. And Bazooka's like, oh, he's all down, and she wanted to cheer him up. And I thought it was funny that it hurt his pride and she felt bad, and then finally she made him smile. So I thought that relationship was pretty neat. Just a short, quick relationship between them.
I concur, and I have her in my notes as Proto Jinx.
True. And Jinx showed up in the comic book in white first.
It's all coming together.
Yeah.
Isn't Jinx black?
Jinx is Oriental.
Is she? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I think I'm getting it from the movie or something like that.
Yeah. In the movie, she's more black,
Yeah.
Asian. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. See, yeah. And that, obviously, that you guys read the comics, and that's where it needs to be derived from. The whole Proto Jinx and all that I asked, who is the female trainee, and does she come back? And, it's possible that that's where it is. So that takes care of that question. Part of it, I wondered why Bazooka involved with training these.
Yes.
Well, why is he involved with training anybody, really?
Anybody.
He's like, well, I don't get that judo. I'm like, well, I don't think they're really doing judo, but, why he was, training future ninjas, I have no idea.
See, I always get this episode, and I believe it's Countdown for Zartan, where you got the Dreadnoks training a group of Cobra troopers and Storm Shadow training a group, and the one where Storm Shadow takes apart a tank just by hitting it a bunch of times.
That's right. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
I always get these two mixed up. But
I like when the landslide is evade, and they just all of a sudden just do like little star formations, and they just kind of roll out of the way. Okay, I guess that's one way to do it.
Jarrod, you got another one? Because if you don't, I've got one that.
Is this round 2 or is this Jarrod does all his notes?
I have no idea where we're at. So just go with it.
Just go with it. Okay. By the way, you bringing up Countdown for Zartan. Remember I told you I lived in Germany, so I wasn't getting these cartoons. My grandma was sending me like one that she taped off a TV on VHS, and the one I had was Countdown for Zartan. I've seen it about 100 times. All right, I'll do you a quick rundown. I never get tired of Ace's gambling puns, and he never runs out of them, and I think that's awesome. I did write down, where is Snake Eyes? He would fit really well into this story, but they were just like, I guess, they're in Japan doing Japanese things. They're like, let's use Bazooka. Okay.
The episode with the Dude Ranch one, where they bring Bazooka in for the sneak peek mission and leave Snake Eyes outside. Really?
I guess you got to get your training somewhere, right?
Yeah.
I thought this was interesting that they used an army of basically Storm Shadows. I would have recolored those guys red if it was me, but
I was going to bring that up too.
I only have 2 more notes. I wrote, I'm not sure that's how fire extinguishers work, because they just, I think, absolutely froze some snakes with fire extinguishers.
Yeah.
Like turned them into ice cubes. That was weird.
I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, we can try it. But, and finally, and I thought this was particularly weird, I watched all these off of the Hasbro's YouTube channel where they have all these available. This one I thought was interesting because it had no title card and no writer, at least on the version I watched. We have it in the notes what the title of the episode is, and Cobra Quake written by Ted Peterson. But when I watched the episode, how the main action is, and they had the title card, and then the show starts. Didn't have one. Just rolled right into the story, and I thought that's weird.
I do want to bring up that normally I would be pointing out things that the writers were involved in, but all of these writers we've already covered on previous cartoon episodes, so I'm not going to rehash.
It makes me wonder if Ted Peterson, something to do with him, maybe they went back and took his name off of episodes for a reason. Did something go wrong there? I don't know, but I just thought it was really weird that there was no title card with the writer on this one. For me, on the official YouTube Hasbro.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. All right, George, you got anything else?
The only other observation I had or notes is how the location of those bombs were in rather interesting and obvious locations. There's a necklace with a cobra symbol on it. That doesn't belong there. Where they just started digging in the dirt. Oh, it's right here. They start digging for a bomb. It's just willy-nilly. I thought that was interesting.
All right. Thank you, George and Jarrod. We're going to roll on to a two-parter that we have, Captives of Cobra. Captives of Cobra, Part 1, written by Christy Marks. An accident at a Cobra lab in the mountains creates a growing mass of piezoelectric crystals. The Joe team is assigned to investigate, and a few Joes on leave are placed on emergency standby. Duke's team discovers the crystals are explosive and a threat to a nearby town. Unwilling to risk an attack near the crystals, the Baroness devises a plan to force the Joes to surrender. Storm Shadow steals a disc with info on the identity and families of the Joes on vacation. As each Joe is recalled to duty, his or her family is kidnapped by Cobra. Relatives of Quick Kick, Scarlet, Thunder, Shipwreck, Spirit, and Barbecue are connected to a machine and brainwashed with the help of a panicky, reluctant scientist. The recalled Joes load the crystals onto an ATV and provide an escort as they are transported. Around a blind curve, the Joes find their families blocking the road and ready to fire on the ATV. Jarrod, want to take part 2?
I got you covered. Captive of Cobra Part 2 is written by Christy Marks as well. It goes a little something like this. After some initial resistance, the Joe's brainwashed family members follow the Baroness's orders to open fire on the Joe convoy. The ATV reverses to take a more dangerous alternate route while Scarlet's escort team works to delay the captives. The captive suits make them immune to sleeping gas, and they can also electrify and break the net the Joes have placed them in. Scarlet's team seeks out a nearby Cobra base as the captives reach the ATV. The captives shoot a hole in the ATV, and Baroness orders Shipwreck's nephew to smash a crystal with a rock. It's going to cause a big explosion. Scarlet and the others storm the base and destroy the mind control machine. Duke talks the boy down, and the Baroness's helicarrier arrives to airlift the whole ATV. Some of the family members join the Joes in fighting Cobra. In the course of the battle, the ATV falls, but everyone manages to survive the explosion. At Joe HQ, Colonel Sharp apologizes to the families for the data leak, and it's discovered that Gung Ho's family information was also disclosed. The Joes head to Gung Ho's home in the swamps, only to find his family perfectly capable of dealing with the Baroness and her squad on their own. And now, back to G.I. Joe.
Thank you, Jarrod. George, you got high, low, or fatal fluffy?
I've got notes all over the place on this one. Well, I guess the one thing that I noticed is they're in the ATV. Now, was that an actual toy or was that just for the cartoon?
No, I was going to bring that up too, because as I was watching it, watching the episode, I'm looking at that going, the front of that sure looks like a Rolling Thunder.
Right.
And the back of it, I'm looking and going, I got some extra Rolling Thunder shells. I could very easily make that vehicle.
Let me toss in on this, Jim. It really reminded me of the vehicle that was in very early issues of G.I. Joe. First time they met October Guard, they were rolling in something that I was like, that reminds me of that.
Issues 6 and 7.
Yeah, I was going to say, somewhere for single issue numbers. I remember that much.
When they were rolling cross country or whatever they were doing, and Scarlett's sitting there just watching that needle, and she's like, oh, we're getting really close. And then I can't remember who was it responding. He goes, boy, Scarlett is really good at pointing out the obvious. Pretty much just called her Captain Obvious is what he did.
Yeah, he was. He gave her a little bit of grief, didn't he?
Yeah. Jarrod, how about you?
How many spelling errors did you notice on the on screen when they were going through the Joes?
A few.
I picked up 2. I noticed 2 of them. Yeah. Matthew with 1 T, and by far my favorite, Scarlett Ohala.
I wanted to point out, so they just keep all the Joe's stuff on a disc that can just be stolen very easily.
Man, it was the 80s. Computer security wasn't really a thing yet.
All right.
Well, the thing is, too, was the episode just before, Destro called her Scarlett O'Hara. he already knows her name.
True.
Like, go back to the games master. He knew their names. He knew where to find them. It can't be that top secret.
Well, and then, like, I think Scarlett's family knew that she was on G.I. Joe team, just the way they were acting. But some of the other team members, they like to keep it a secret from their family members.
Yeah, quick
Like,
experience
really?
flu.
Yeah, and barbecue, I think, also.
I think it's pronounced barbecue.
I'm like, you didn't tell your family members you're a member of the G.I. Joe team? Okay.
Or at least could have told them that you're on a high security military team, so it's not weird when your beeper goes off.
Quick Kick said, yeah, my agent. Yeah, my agent's called. Needs something done real quick.
I'm a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Just tell them you're in the military, man. It'll be okay.
Yeah. Anyway, George, did you get a chance?
A chance to
back
what?
To you? Yeah. It's
Oh,
back to you.
yeah, it's back to me. When Storm Shadow attacked the O'Haras, he had no problem taking out the kids, but he knew better than to try and take on O'Hara. I had a feeling that would have been a pretty good match. He gave up because he didn't want him to hurt the kids. I just thought that was Storm Shadow knew where to draw the line.
So, Jarrod, this is the episode where you didn't get the Red Ninjas with Storm Shadow, but you got the Crimson Guard with Storm Shadow.
Sure.
So mix the two episodes. You got.
I think you brought them along just for comedic value because they got their handed to them.
Oh yeah, they definitely did not hold up very well. That's for sure.
Storm Shadow was like, I should have just come by myself.
All right, Jarrod, you're next.
Well, the good news is I only have a very few notes left, so forgive me for just using them all. I can't help but notice that both these episodes were written by Christy Marks, and the name of the doctor was Dr. Marks. I think Christy might have wrote herself into the story a little bit.
Or her dad, or
yeah, I'm on to you, Christy Marks.
Yeah.
I figured you out. And the only other things I have, honestly, are I got a kick out of Barbecue wearing a mask over his mask when they use the gas.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, don't you remember when he was in the elevator and it didn't work in there when they were getting gassed when they were going up to Extensive Enterprises?
Oh, okay.
Both Snake Eyes and Barbecue. I'm like, well, why even wear it if it's not going to keep out your smoke? So I guess his mask didn't need a mask.
Other than that, man, that's actually it, really. Unless we want to make fun of Tripwire for almost, killing everybody.
For tripping, yeah.
That's what he does.
He tossed that rock, or the crystal.
Yeah.
He almost brought the boulder down on everybody.
Almost took out the bridge layer. And
well, that's what I was going to bring up. So these things are volatile, right? How in the world did they realize that they could cut them? You would think that any kind of interaction like that would make them go boom.
Or like when the helicopter, it lifted it with two claws and one claw came off. So now it's sideways. So all those crystals had to have crashed to the bottom, but they waited till they hit the ground to explode.
No, they were very well secured with those technologically advanced mattresses.
Yeah, the 1940s wrestling mats.
Right.
Somebody did a really good job packing their eBay shipping.
Yeah, that's what it was. And I thought that explosion was pretty small considering how big the little piece that Dusty ignited, how big that explosion was. I'm like, that's a pretty small explosion for all of them to go off.
I do have to give props to them bringing back the helicarrier. We've probably seen it in previous episodes, but I remember that one in one of the very first miniseries. That one was there. They used that type of helicarrier. I thought that was a good callback.
They use it to capture Duke a lot,
which we'll be discussing later. All right. Either of you got anything on this? Really, actually, a good two-parter. Most of the two-parters, I think, are pretty good. They're usually ranked high up there with the fans. This one, it's good. It's not my favorite two-parter, but it's definitely a good one. You guys got anything else?
Right. I thought it was neat that we took a look at family lives of them. That was a fun diversion in expanding the world. Interestingly enough, none of them are married or have spouses. None of them do. It's weird, which may make sense in a team like they have.
I do want to point out that, as Jarrod said, them delving into their family life, if that sequence hadn't been in, they could have done this as just a single episode story or have been real close. Because I think some of the action could have been brought down a little bit, condensed. It was nice seeing that side of it. And then, of course, Gung Ho's family taking care of themselves was very true to that character and his family. So we've covered these episodes in detail. Now let's highlight some of the episodes by picking one of each for the following subjects. And we can pad it up a little bit and go to if we really want to. So The first one, the most significant episode, the episode that stood out from the most due to character building, overall story, or world building. George, what you got?
Probably going to go with the obvious, and that's the Viper. It's one of the top 3 that stick out in my head, right with the Games Master. It's always right there. Of course, when I first started watching, I'm like, oh, the Viper. And then as soon as I go, oh, yeah, I remember that. I just didn't put 2 and 2 together what it was called.
That one is definitely, as I said before, it's one of the most memorable ones people are going to recognize. Jarrod, most significant episode.
Of all time, probably Quantum Leap's final episode. Oh, G.I. Joe, right.
Of the 5 episodes, 4 stories that we've covered today.
I will actually go with the 2-parter at the end, just because one of the things you mentioned was world building, and we really got to see the families really expand upon, and then, kind of cleverly how Cobra used them as, puppets, because, man, it's hard to attack family members.
I was going to go with the same one as Jarrod had, the 2-part Captives of Cobra with the world building, character building, overall story for the most significant. Delving into that past and reactions of the team to their family being put in front of them, I thought was pretty good. Craziest episode is the next one. Which of these episodes had the craziest moments and plot? Jarrod, what do you got?
Viper, 3 for 3 of finding Cobra stuff while completely botching quote-unquote clues that are unrelated. Just bonkers stupid, but in a fun way.
George, what do you got?
Well, I'm going to go to the Captive of Cobra, just because they're using the family as weapons and shields. I thought that was pretty crazy that they would stoop that low. But then again, I don't put it past them for that. That's probably one of the craziest ones, at least the part of that. It was a really good episode, but I thought that was very cowardice of them.
Yeah, something I didn't bring up in that episode was, Baroness is always a little bit twisted or whatever, but she was downright diabolical in that episode. Just the way she treated the family and, making them attack. So, yeah, definitely crazy.
You think that's because she doesn't really have family, right? She's
possible.
Her family's just not there.
I am going to go with the Viper. The Viper is crazy. For some of the same reasons Jarrod said, was the 3 botched clues, and that's what I'm going to go with. Next one up is your single most memorable moment from any episode. George.
Well, as much as I want to say the Viper where he comes strolling up the street and they all think it's funny, mine is at the end of Captive of Cobra when Gung Ho's family just takes out Cobra. It's a really good thing that they didn't try and capture them at the beginning of the episode, because it would have been done. They would have all gotten taken out and not captured any other families. That one just sticks out to me. I think it was pretty entertaining.
Jarrod, what do you got for the single most memorable moment?
Jim alluded to this earlier in the discussion at the beginning of Cobra Quake, where they did sort of a Mission Impossible bait and switch on Cobra. I like that because they kept that from the audience as well. So they got all the way to the point where they forced the jet to land, and then out the back comes a bunch of Joes on vehicles and stuff, like ready to fight. And I was like, oh, yeah, clever. So, yeah, I like that moment.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty good. I'm going to go with when the Viper's walking up the street at the end of the episode, and there's a whirlwind Gatling gun and a vamp and all kinds of other stuff pointed at him, and he just, I'm here to do some work. That was my most memorable moment for these. And the last one, overall favorite episode. Which one out of these we have covered is your favorite? Jarrod.
That's tough. They all have their ups and downs. Let's go with the Bonkers Viper episode. I mean, it's a silly joke, but it's fun, and yeah, why not?
George.
I'm right there with you with the Viper. It's just the dumb luck, winning the day. I've had my fair of dumb luck winnings the last couple of weeks on things, so I really enjoy that one.
Well, we're going to make it 3 cool guys.
Woo!
Go with the Viper.
Whoop, whoop.
That one is definitely one. If you watch the episode, you watch it, you go, and it doesn't take you long to remember what it was about. Okay. With our discussion episode highlights covered, we're going to roll into our Duke capture count.
Scarlet is still a prisoner, and we can't do anything about it until I remember where Cobra headquarters is.
This is a segment we will continue through the remainder of the cartoon podcast episodes, tracking the number of times Duke gets captured. As of Outpost episode 15, We are at 6 times that Duke has been captured. So how many times did he get captured in the episodes we covered today? I'm going to go with once in the Siren, because he was captured before anybody else, before the conch shell was blown. It was activated.
Yeah, see,
Conch shell was activated.
the Baroness knows her way around, man. That's all I'm saying.
What do you think? Am I stretching it? Because he was a lady.
No, he was clearly he was
legitimately
captured by the conch shell. So yeah,
and he was fighting with the rest of them, when he was
100%.
under their powers. So that's
So we're up to 7. And I still think I'm going to go back at some point and watch the episodes and do an ace crash count.
that dude should have been grounded 4 years ago.
Well, another one too that it's not as entertaining, but how many times does Cobra use mind control as a weapon?
Many, many times.
Many, many times.
All right. George, Jarrod, is there anything else you want to bring up? Comments, questions before we move on to our final segment? Now's the time.
I got one last one or thought where they're all sitting around the table and they're all eating dinner. The octopus. I thought that was pretty funny how they kind of turn their nose up at it, but yet they'll eat anything that Gunko makes.
Or MREs for that matter.
Right. Yeah, that's a change and then MRE. So just put a little more Tabasco sauce on it. You'll be fine.
All right. We are now moving on to our final segment that we call Military Surplus.
Now I know.
And knowing is half the battle.
G.I. Joe! Here at the Outpost, on each episode, besides discussing toys, comics, and cartoons of the highlighted year, we discuss a peripheral item related to G.I. Joe. Today, we are going to discuss the final installment of the many stickers of G.I. Joe. Back in the 80s, who didn't like stickers? 3djoes.com has 15 different sets listed. We have discussed the first 10 sticker sets on the previous shows. We are going to discuss the last 5 of those today. George was on the first show that we discussed the stickers, and Jarrod was on the second. So now you guys are coming together. We're finishing it up, tying it up with the last 5, which I think have got some pretty good sets in here. So let's go on to the first one, and that is the 1986 trading card stickers from Milton Bradley. I have never seen these until I pulled these up to do the show. What are your guys' thoughts on them? I think they're pretty cool.
Looks like they could be fake tattoos.
I thought that too.
Or Valentine cards.
Yeah.
The Snake Eyes one particularly reminds me of some of the art around the Expendables movies, how they do the big blossom of knives and guns and stuff. Like that's a lot of knives and swords on
the Thrones, the Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there you go. What I find most interesting about this is we're talking about stickers, and they show the 12 stickers from the set. But there's a 192 card trading set in 86 of G.I. Joe, and how I didn't know this just doesn't seem fair.
So I know we've gone over these trading cards.
I don't pay attention a lot.
I know. I don't remember if you were. I don't remember, but I do remember going over that trading card set, and I did not realize that these stickers were in them. So it must be a chase type thing. Be my guess. Like the old hologram cards from the 90s.
You might have gotten one per pack.
Maybe.
What was the year that I just gave you not too long ago? Was that early 90s?
That was 87, I think. Comic Images ones. Thoughts? Anything besides Snake Eyes and the Game of Thrones and Expendables jumps out at you?
The flames behind Leatherneck.
Well, they all got a little bit of flame.
Yeah.
Different style.
Not Hog. But yeah, you're right. No. They all do have kind of. I think it's pretty cool artwork.
It's minimalist. Is that the right word for it, Jarrod? Or is it
kinda? It's basic.
Let's there you go.
Basic.
Basic. There you go.
What do you mean? Tell who everybody is, and it's not bad.
All right. If nothing else, we'll move on to the second set, 1987 sticker collector's album with cartoon stickers from Diamond Publishing. So is these one of those that you get the stickers and you complete like the activities? Oh, I remember looking at these.
This has been a trope for years and years and years. Where you sell the book cheap because you're really selling the packs of the stickers. And I remember buying some of these for my youngest son around the Justice League movie that came out, a handful of years ago. It was at Dollar Tree. You could get the book at Dollar Tree and then the packs of stickers. And I was like, oh man, I'm totally get these for my son. He'll relive that experience. And he didn't take to it like we did in the 80s.
But you still had fun with it.
I did.
You scroll down and you guys seeing the decoder.
Yeah, I remember the decoder stuff. Yeah, it's cool. I had this. Memory unlocked, as the kids say.
Yeah, this is pretty neat. George, do you remember these at all?
I do not.
I remember seeing them, but I don't think I ever bought any.
Right.
It's got characters you don't normally see. Big Boa, Outback. They brought Destro all the way up from 83 to put in here. Lots of different activities and stuff.
Yeah.
So, pretty cool. Definitely a collect them all type thing. Moving on to the third set from 1987 as well, from Hallmark. We have some G.I. Joe sticker Valentines. And right on the front is Crazy Legs. And it looks like there's definitely some package art involved in it.
Roadblock running with dial tone. That's like the pose he takes for everything.
That's his package art.
He knows what's up. Yeah, this is he knows his good side. A lot of this is
blue steel.
His Magnum, if you will, blue steel. One look.
That roadblock, Jarrod, that looks like it's from a comic.
From a comic panel is exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just trying to place which one.
What I'm trying to figure out is how I believe that's a hind from the Red October there on the bottom right.
It is.
Or October Guard.
October Guard, yeah.
Yeah,
wow.
That is a Russian helicopter. Jarrod's helicopter identification skills cannot be challenged. This is what I do, people. And I'm like, wait a minute. That is not a Joe helicopter. Communist propaganda Valentine set. The 80s.
Isn't that the helicopter that we flew in and stole, and now it's in a museum here in the U.S.?
I think you're thinking of Airwolf.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
I have sat in the cockpit of a hind. That we have one at the Army Aviation Museum right here where I live at Fort Novacell, used to be Fort Rucker. That was my high school job. I worked at the Army Aviation Museum on Fort Rucker at the time. Although it was not on display, there was one in the collection that I was able to get in. And let me tell you something, man, you got to be one tiny Russian dude. Because, I mean, I was skinny back then. I was 6'2", 6'3", and like 125 pounds. But the 6'3" part I was cramped. Like you had to be skinny and short to get into that.
So it's not built for comfort then.
None of the three of us are getting in that thing today. As a pilot, we get back in the old storage area, but not as the pilot or the gunner. Man, it is tight fit. Anyway, I took us far afield. Valentines are cool.
You'd have to be a very well-read comic book reader of G.I. Joe to know that that's related to October Guard.
I suspect they were just like, hey, get one that has a cool helicopter on it. And somebody was like, here's a cool helicopter. I bet they didn't even know it was a Russian helicopter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. You could have had the Tomahawk. You could have had the Dragonfly, Skyhawk, anything. But
anything. A Fang.
Yeah. Crazy.
They were like, let's use the Rusky copter. Communists working at Hallmark.
George, you got any further thoughts on that?
No, that's all I got.
Moving on to number 4, a 1989 sticker fun book by Western Publishing Company. And I'm guessing that this is going to get outside of all three of ours area. We weren't even looking at sticker books at this time or coloring books.
It's got Tiger Force.
It's got Destro's Razorback as a coloring page. The Bug.
I'm pretty sure I drew the cover of this thing in 1989 when I was 13. I mean, I don't like to disparage other artists. This dude's more published than I am at this point. that is like my cousin knows how to draw. Okay, well, he can do the cover of the G.I.
Yeah. I was going to say something, but, I was waiting for the artist in the group to make that comment.
I don't like picking on other people's art because, once again, whoever did this probably has a bigger publishing record than I do. It's basic.
They have the thunderclap on the back cover. There's some crazy vehicles in this. Some that you wouldn't normally think would be in there.
Yeah.
There's the Python Patrol stuff in there.
Yeah, I just noticed the Python Patrol. That was pretty cool.
That Darklon's of Vader. Holy cow.
What's that little skiff that guy's on?
This is bizarrely specific.
I would be very interested in getting this. If I could find this, I would be very interested in buying it just for these vehicles you don't see in publication like this very often.
Destro's little, it's not very proportionate, is it?
Which
bottom, very bottom left.
I told you I don't like to pick on other people's arts.
It looks like it should have been a wheelchair.
It is not the best.
No, it is not the best.
Good news for you, Jim. I just looked it up on eBay, and this is a very affordable sticker fun book with shipping and everything. $10. Most of the time, it sells around $5 with $5 shipping.
That might get ordered tonight.
Father's Day's coming.
I'm not waiting.
I got coloring to do, boys.
I got coloring to do, man.
And I'm thinking, I'll give you 6 months, and I bet you that you could draw a better cover than.
I don't know about that.
No, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be able to do that. Maybe the trees.
George is on trees. Jim, you're on snow.
I'll do the grass or the sky.
The grass on a snow picture. Nice.
Moving on to the last one. 1991 stickers from C.A. Reed. And these look like just pretty basic
decals almost.
Yeah.
They're kind of cool. Like,
yeah.
Just regular window stickers kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like the G.I. Joe official battle gear. That's pretty cool.
What's the JT888V?
I have no idea.
Or is it an A888I?
I don't know.
Hook.
When I Google JT888V, that is the designator for the G.I. Joe Locust helicopter that came out in 1989.
That makes sense because the general's right there. And the Locust came with the general.
These are bizarrely sterile. Like, it's like a flag and like just emblems. But part of that makes it attractive to me. Like, I like the fact that you could take that and you could put it on like your laptop or your Jeep, and it would just look kind of cool. They're very odd. They don't scream G.I. Joe. It's like you can put them almost anywhere. I like them for their simplicity. You know how these days you can get like a lot of different toys and models thanks to like 3D printing has made more things available. I feel like we're looking at the 1991 version of this. Like someone got some really nice, clean files of these things and was like, you know what? I'm going to make a sticker set out of these.
I'd be curious to look back and see this G.I. Joe logo. This had to have been one of the first years that used that style with the blue star and that font. So I wonder if that was some of that too. I know they changed the font throughout the years a little bit. All right. George, you got any further?
No, you guys hit it all.
Okay. Of the ones we have discussed, if you were at a toy show or Comic-Con and these 5 items were laid out in front of you and you could only pick one, which one are you buying? Jarrod, let you go first.
It would depend. If the Diamond sticker album came with a bunch of packs, so I could have a lot of fun with that immediately, yes. And oh, by the way, I looked on eBay for that. And the album itself, you can pick up for about $15. Packs, they're $5 a pack-ish. You can get a deal on a bundle, but packs are where the money's at. Finding unopened packs is tough. That, to me, would just bring back all the memories. I'd love to do that. If we're talking, just the books available, or maybe it only came with one pack of stickers or something like that, then I feel like I'd be bizarrely drawn to that final set of just really basic stickers, because I just feel like I could put those in interesting places and they'd be fun.
I can see that. George, how about you? Which one are you picking?
Well, I'm going to go with the 86 trading card stickers. I really like those ones, especially if I'm going to be the one that gets to open the pack. I love ripping open packs. I just really like how those stickers look.
For me, believe it or not, I know you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going with that 1989 sticker fun book with the not so great.
Look, man, I'll draw you up some, Joe. I've sent you my Prince tech. Come on.
You have, and I appreciate it.
I'll be honest, I was going to go with that one, but I didn't want Jarrod to make too much fun of me. Therefore, I had to pick a plastic one.
The peer pressure.
I had like,
hey, if you want the 89 one, go for it.
No, well, I just know that Jarrod's going to find something anyway. So I'm just going with what I like. Not so much for the cover, but for the pictures on the inside. Some very unique vehicles and stuff you don't see in that kind of print very often. That's what really draws me to it. Yeah, heck, he got Deep Six in his version 2 dive suit.
It does have a ton of uniqueness that you don't see in any other third party. Yeah. It's fascinating. That's for sure.
And like I said, I will probably be ordering that at eBay in the next few days. George, any closing thoughts?
Nothing on my end.
Jarrod, anything on anything we've covered tonight?
For a guy that didn't watch any of these cartoons, I think all my guesses were pretty good.
Usually, you can do that pretty good.
I'm a good guesser.
Yeah, you're a good guesser. And a good guest.
Did you say guesser?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for joining George, Jarrod, and myself for this episode of G.I. Joe Outpost. George, thank you for spending time discussing these 5 episodes of the cartoon. And if our listeners wanted to contact you, where can they find you?
Yes, they can find me on Facebook, just under George Miel. I also have Miel Steals and Deals. I'm still not quite monitoring that one as close. If George Miel is on Facebook is the best way to get a hold of me.
Jarrod, thank you for joining me outside of your normal discussion from toys and joining me for the cartoon episode. If the listeners wanted to contact you, where can they find you?
Well, they can find me at lots of different places, but I am at Yard Sale Artist on X, Facebook, and Instagram. It's all at Yard Sale Artist. If you're interested in checking out I think I've done 24 G.I. Joe prints where I drew characters on pages from Military Manual. That is up on www.theyardsaleartist.com, along with a lot of my other artwork. So, this is a good place to find me. Also, a good place to find me is Arby's. I like a beef and cheddar.
Who doesn't? And I'm going to pull fancy and say I've got all 24 of Jarrod's G.I. Joe prints.
Mm-hmm. And an original.
And an original of Lieutenant Falcon.
That's right.
They're very good.
Oh, thank you.
All right. You can find me on Facebook as Jim Miel, JimMiel, as well. Timbers Toys and Customs. I'm getting into, when I have some time, it's getting warm out again, so I don't know how much time customizing I'll be able to do, but I'm working on a couple different things. So as I mentioned last episode, I'm working on customizing a whale to become a equipment carrier. So that's in process. I've got the 3D printed parts, so I just got to get everything cleaned up and glued together and for the first stage, and I got to figure some other stuff out. It's going pretty good. I'm pleased with it so far. As well on X as Jim the Joe Junkie. And I want to thank everyone at the LONGBOX CRUSADE Network for adding and keeping G.I. Joe Outpost to their extensive line of shows. Take a listen to all the other shows that are on the LONGBOX CRUSADE on any podcatcher or on YouTube. And if you like what you hear, go to Patreon, become a Crusader Club member where you get all the access. Join us next time where we expand our discussion and we fast forward to May of 2010 and we begin to discuss the IDW continuation of G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero by Larry Hama. Until next time,
Yo Joe.
The music themes for this show are done by musical genius Joe November. Please check out his SoundCloud at Josephline99. That's Josephline 99. You will not regret it.
Outtakes.
And the next bold I wrote, feel free to bleep this one out. That Baroness sure can blow a have fun with that.
That's going to stay in some form or another. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's up to you. I said conk.
You did.
So everybody knows.
And if I bleep it, they can use their own.
I do that to Jason a lot, by the way. I've bleeped words that are not curse words that Jason has used to make it sound worse.
Quick, Bazooka, and Trainee. What the hell? Is it Tycho? Tico? Coleco? Quick Kick, Bazooka.
I'm a great backup hitter. If I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I'll try to make something entertaining.
It's G.I. Joe. You just wing it.
Yeah, that's right. I like the part where Duke was shooting his gun like pa-pow, pa-pow.
And then he got captured. This is a segment we will continue through the remainder of the cart.
It's funny. I'm sorry. Oh, Duke.
Oh, Duke. And actually, that was this episode, wasn't it?
There was a couple of Dukes dropped. Yes, there were.
Yeah, it was Dookie.
They have the thunderclap on the back cover. There's some crazy vehicles in this. You know, some that you wouldn't normally think would be in there.
I had the thunderclap once, but penicillin cleared it right up.
Good to know. Is that what they called you in high school too?
No, that was his prom date's name.
It always falls apart at the end, Jim.
Easy for you to say.
That's all, folks.